It started as a simple family outing, one last adventure before the old amusement park was torn down. Dad, an architect with a knack for scouting potential redevelopment sites, thought it would be fun to bring us, my twin brother Jake and me, along to explore the park. For us, it was an escape from the monotony of summer break. But looking back, I wish we had never set foot in that cursed place. The park was eerie, cloaked in an unsettling quiet. Rusted rides stood frozen in time, their once vibrant colors faded to lifeless shades. Creeping vines wrapped around the Ferris were like skeletal fingers, and the air smelled faintly of damp wood and decay. As Dad wandered off to take notes and measurements, he warned us to stay close. Of course, Jake had other plans. We stumbled upon the carousel in the heart of the park. It looked like something out of a ghost story. Chipped paint on the horses, mirrors shattered into jagged shards, and garlands of cobwebs swaying gently in the breeze. Despite its decrepit state, there was something strangely captivating about it. "Look at that," Jake said, his voice tinged with awe. "What?" I asked, following his gaze. "There's a girl," he whispered, pointing at one of the horses. "She's wearing a white dress. Can't you see her?" I squinted, but there was nothing there, just an empty horse with a cracked saddle and a faded golden pole. "There's no one, Jake," I said uneasily, but Jake was insistent. "She's waving at me. She wants me to come closer." I grabbed his arm. "Jake, don't." Dad said, "She's nice, Lily. She's not going to hurt me," he said, brushing me off and stepping onto the carousel platform. I wanted to scream for Dad, but something in Jake's expression stopped me. His eyes were wide with a childlike wonder I hadn't seen in years, as if he were under some sort of spell. Before I could stop him, he climbed onto one of the horses. That's when it happened. The carousel groaned to life with a mechanical shriek, the kind of sound that made your teeth ache. The ride began to spin, slowly at first, then faster and faster. The music started, a warped and haunting melody that sent shivers down my spine. "Jake, get off!" I yelled, but he didn't seem to hear me. He was laughing, actually laughing, his head tilted back as if he were having the time of his life. "She says her name is Sophie," he called out to me. There was no one on the carousel but Jake, yet he was talking, pausing as though someone were responding. I felt paralyzed, my feet rooted to the ground. Then, as abruptly as it started, the carousel stopped. Jake slumped forward and slid off the horse, landing in a crumpled heap on the platform. "Jake!" I scrambled up to him, shaking his shoulders. His face was pale, his skin clammy, and his eyes fluttered as though caught in a nightmare. "Wake up, Jake." Dad came running, his face a mix of anger and panic. He scooped Jake into his arms and hurried us back to the car. That night, Jake burned with fever, tossing and turning in his bed. He muttered Sophie's name over and over, his words jumbled but laced with terror. "The fire trap can't leave." Dad stayed up researching while I sat by Jake's side, gripping his hand and praying he'd wake up. It wasn't until the early hours of the morning that Dad returned to Jake's room, his face pale. "Lily," he said softly, "there was a fire at that carousel. Decades ago, several children died, including a girl named Sophie. She was wearing a white dress." Jake stirred at the sound of her name, his lips moving soundlessly. I leaned closer and heard a faint whisper, "She's still there." The next morning, Jake's fever broke, but he was different. He refused to talk about the carousel or Sophie, retreating into a shell of himself. His usual mischievous grin was gone, replaced by a haunted look that made my stomach churn. The carousel was destroyed a week later. Dad didn't tell us, but I overheard him on the phone, talking about the demolition crew. They had reported strange occurrences, whispers, giggles, the sound of creaking wood even though the ride was still. They said it felt like the kids didn't want to leave. Dad muttered. Jake never fully recovered from that day. He avoided carousels altogether, even refusing to go near them in other parks. I tried to forget, but the memory lingered like a shadow, especially at night when I lay in bed and replayed the warped music in my head. Years later, I returned to the site, now a gleaming shopping mall. The carousel was gone, its ghostly laughter replaced by the chatter of shoppers and the hum of escalators. But as I stood there, I could swear I heard it, A faint, distant tune carried by the wind, accompanied by the soft giggle of a little girl. Some things never truly disappear. Urban exploration was our thing. Me and Melissa, we craved a thrill, the forbidden nature of wandering where we weren't supposed to go. Abandoned places were like treasure troves of the unknown. So, when Melissa suggested the old carnival on the edge of town, I jumped at the chance. Everyone had heard the rumors about the place. Freak accidents, mysterious disappearances, whispers of something that had cursed the grounds. But rumors never scared me. They only added to the allure. The carnival was every bit as creepy as I imagined. Faded banners swayed in the cold wind, their once bright colors drained by decades of neglect. The skeletal remains of rides loomed over us like sentinels. A rusted Ferris wheel groaned as the breeze nudged it, and torn clown posters fluttered, their grinning faces warped by time. "This place is insane," Melissa whispered, her voice tinged with awe. "Yeah," I said, my voice echoing in the stillness. "Creepy as hell, too. I love it." Our flashlight swept across the crumbling ticket booth and collapsed stalls. Then we spotted the fun house. Its garish exterior was peeling, but the faded neon sign still read Funland. The clown faces painted on the entrance seemed to leer at us, their smiles oddly malevolent in the pale light of the moon. "Let's check it out," Melissa said, already making her way toward it. Inside, the air was musty, the kind of smell that clings to old places left to rot. Distorted mirrors lined the walls, and the faint creak of warpwood under our feet added to the unsettling atmosphere. My flashlight flickered, casting erratic shadows. Then I saw it. At the entrance, a clown mannequin stood eerily upright. Its paint was strangely intact. Bright red lips curled into a frozen grin, eyes wide and unblinking. "Creepy, right?" Melissa said, snapping a picture with her phone. "Yeah, but it's just a prop," I said, shrugging off a chill that ran down my spine. They probably left it here when the carnival shut down. We moved deeper into the funhouse, navigating the warped floors and cobweb corners. But something gnawed at me. Every time I turned around, I felt like we weren't alone. "Hey, did that mannequin seem closer to you?" Melissa asked suddenly, her voice tight. "What?" "I swear it's moved." I laughed, but was forced. "It's just the shadows playing tricks on you." But when we rounded a corner, my laughter died in my throat. The mannequin was there again, standing impossibly still in the hallway we had just come from. Melissa grabbed my arm. "Jake, I'm serious. Let's get out of here." "Yeah," I muttered, my pulse quickening. "Let's go." We retraced our steps, or at least tried to. The fun house seemed to twist and shift, leading us in circles. And that mannequin, it was always there, sometimes standing in the distance, sometimes so close I could see the fine cracks in its painted face. We finally found the exit, but relief turned to horror when we saw it standing directly in the doorway. Its painted smile seemed wider now, more sinister. Melissa screamed, but I grabbed her arm. "Run," I yelled, pushing her toward another hallway. The clown moved, not like a mannequin being dragged or tipped over. It moved fluidly, its joints bending like a human's. But its face didn't change. That grin stayed fixed, unrelenting. It chased us to the funhouse, its footsteps echoing behind us. I pushed Melissa ahead, willing her to move faster, my breath ragged in my chest. Then I felt it, a searing pain across my shoulder, like claws raking through my skin. I stumbled, clutching at the wound as Melissa pulled me forward. We burst out of the funhouse and didn't stop running until we reached the car. Melissa drove us out of there as fast as she could, her hands trembling on the wheel. "Are you okay?" she asked, glancing at me. "I'll live," I said, though the scratch throbbed painfully. We didn't talk much after that. Melissa dropped me off at home, and I promised to call her in the morning. That night, I couldn't sleep. The scratch on my shoulder felt wrong, hot and pulsating like it was alive. I tossed and turned, sweat soaking my sheets. When I finally drifted off, my dreams were a nightmare of twisted mirrors and that unblinking clown face. By morning, the scratch had worsened. The skin around it was dark and swollen, veins spidering out from the wound. My muscles ached, and I felt off, like something inside me was changing. I texted Melissa, feeling weird, call you later. But by noon, my hands had started to shake uncontrollably. My reflection in the bathroom mirror made my stomach churn. My skin was pale, almost waxy. My eyes looked sunken, and my lips felt like they'd been stretched too tightly over my teeth. And then it hit me, a wave of pain so intense I collapsed on the bathroom floor. My body convulsed, my bones cracking and shifting. I screamed, but the sound that came out wasn't human. When the pain subsided, I pushed myself up and looked in the mirror again. It wasn't my face staring back at me. Red lips stretched into a painted grin. My eyes were wide and unblinking, their whites impossibly bright. My hair was gone, replaced by a tattered red wig. My hands were gloved in white, but they weren't gloves. The transformation was complete. I wasn't Jake anymore. I don't know how much time passed after that. The carnival called to me, drawing me back like a moth to a flame. I wanted the grounds, my footsteps silent, my grin fixed. Sometimes I saw Melissa. She'd come back, probably to look for me. I stayed hidden, watching her. She was terrified, and I hated myself for it. But I couldn't stop. The carnival doesn't let you go. Now, I wait in the fun house, just like the one who scratched me must have waited. My turn to stand still, to hunt. So, if you ever feel like exploring an abandoned carnival, don't, because I'll be waiting.